Hey guys, how you doing? So I went off of a keto diet for the last 2 months now. Still lowish carbs, but keto diet is 50 grams of carbs or less. I went up to 100 grams of carbs, 150 grams of carbs some days. So I went off of a keto diet, just, whatever. It's habit as like everything else in life. By the way, if you want to get in shape, you want to become wealthy, you want to become happy, it's all habit. It's all about reprogramming your lizard brain at the end of the day. Because, for example, anyway, I went off the the diet. I went off the keto diet for whatever reasons. Just drifted into it, like so many people drifted. Anyway, long story short, not a good thing. Not a good thing. I can feel pretty quickly now. I started feeling it right away, but I can feel the differences. So what difference is? Sluggishness, anxieties, energy. It's not smooth. It's frenetic. The energy is frantic. Whereas when you're on a low carb diet, the energy is much smoother. It's much more relaxed. You're much more chill. You're much more zen. It's very different situations. I found I'm retaining more water. Carbs will do that. It's just not good. It's just not good. I am a big advocate for a keto diet, or at least pulse it into place. So this is something I talk about in my Fitness Over 50 program. The key to getting super healthy, super in shape, improve cognitive function, improve emotional state is to pulse in pulses like this. Push a little further. You want to slowly pulse in the new habits that are healthy. The new habits include low carb diet, keto adjacent, keto diet, pulse in exercises, exercising, etc. Another thing I've done is I've slowed down on the weightlifting and so forth. Well, I haven't done much in the last month or so, but I do push-ups daily and I do kicking exercises, and that helps. But I can feel it. I'm a middle-aged nerd here, and I can feel the difference. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. So anyway, I went off the keto diet, started eating carbs, started feeling the negative impacts of it, and still low carbs, relatively speaking. So I'm going back on the keto diet, the keto adjacent diet. Fortunately, I have my Brad Fit, my fitness AI, that makes the whole process much easier because it tracks your carbs for you. It tracks everything, gives you suggestions, tells you what you're doing right or wrong. So that's it. So if you're thinking about the ketogenic diet or the low carb diet, trust me, you can only benefit from it. But to transition from the current SAD diet, which is standard American diet, which is SAD, sucks, you want to slowly change it where you cycle out carbs and replace them with non-carbs food, mostly meat. The most healthy foods in the world are eggs, red meat, eggs and red meat. There you go. Some wild stuff as well, non-processed. The least amount of processed, the more wild anything is, the better off you are going to be. As an example, I see in my family, my small anecdotal, but I think it's reflective of broader things. So in my family, my father has like seven brothers and sisters, or total seven, I forget now, and it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's the oldest, and he's been a hunter fisherman his whole life. So he eats a lot of wild, deer he shot, fish he caught in lakes up in northern Quebec, unpolluted lakes, trout, bass, walleye, pike, a lot of deer meat, other game meat as well. Anyway, long story short, in the family, he's the thinnest, number one. He's had, at 80-something, he's had no serious health problems, no metabolic disorder at all. I think he had a kidney stone a couple of years ago. Whereas his younger siblings, who don't follow that diet, they've all had far more serious health conditions, even though they're younger. The difference being is that he's active, he's in nature, he's eating natural foods, hunting his food. Understand the difference. So there you go. Yeah, low carb, is huge. If people go, oh, you need carbs, it's BS. My great-grandmother, who lived to be 98 or 99 years old, I forget now, and she was born in 1900. And I had a lot of conversations with her. And one of the conversations I had with her back in the 80s was about health, nutrition, food. I was just curious. And so she was, remember, born in 1900. Most people lived on the farm, right? Anyway, she made an interesting observation. She said that in her day as a kid, cancer was super rare. Heart disease was super rare. Arthritis was super rare. All these things, dementia is super rare. All these things that we associate with growing old, they were very rare back in the day. According to my great-grandmother, and I think statistics will bear this out as well. So I asked her, why do you think that's the case? And she said, well, I think it's the food. So back in then, she lived on a farm. They grew their own food. They raised their own food. What did they eat, though? You remember, this is 1900, 1910, 1920, 1930. They weren't able to fly in groceries, fresh vegetables all year round from California or from Mexico, right? This is, 1920s. So they would eat vegetables and grown food, lettuce, salad, tomatoes, that kind of stuff, potatoes, in the summer months, the warmer months, because they go bad, right? Potatoes had a bit longer shelf life, but a lot of their diet consists of eggs, chicken, beef, lamb, a lot of meat, right? A lot of fermented foods. That's how they would get their vegetables, if you will. How about sweets? Lemons and apples. Apples during the season only. Berries during the season only, right? Remember, this is 1910, 1920, 1930s, right? So easy access to fruit and vegetables weren't there, at least for her, up here in northern Quebec. So I think that's a huge thing. So one of the things I do is I look at humans as a species, right, to kind of try to gauge things. Now, like every other species on the planet, we evolve to our environment to survive in the environment well. So what happens? So if you look back 300,000, modern humans are 300,000-year-old species, and the precursors millions of years old. So our bodies have adapted to millions of years of lived experiences, if you will, of it being in a certain environment for millions of years. So we'll just say 300,000 years for modern humans for the sake of argument. You know that breads and farming and vegetables and all that stuff, that's like 5,000 years old, maybe 10,000 years old. So we'll just talk about modern humans, 300,000 years. So of the 300,000 years that humans existed, only 10,000 of those years max did we start farming. When was bread invented? I don't know. Probably in that time frame. I have to go look it up. Point is that's like, it's not even 1%. No, it's 1%. It's 3%, whatever it is, 2-3% of our lifespan. That's assuming just the 300,000 years of human existence. It's been, we evolved from previous iterations. Okay, what's the point? The point is our bodies adapted to a hunter lifestyle, a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. There are no apples and fruit to get, apples were not all sweet back in the day. They had to be bred through selective breeding, so we have sweet apples. That's where the apple of my eye came from, apparently, where, you would have a tree full of apples. Only one of the apples would be sweet of all the tree. So, they weren't, back 200 years ago, they weren't able to fly in fresh fruit and vegetables from California in the northern climates. This didn't exist. Bottom line is our bodies evolved to eat, be hunter-gatherers, feast and famine type of situation, not steady stream of food. A lot of hunting, a lot of game meat. That's what eggs, pretty common. Once in a while, we'd run across a carb like honey from bees, or maybe in the season you get some berries. That's why carbs are very addictive, because they were so rare that our body would say, oh, we got carbs. And it has some function in the body, but I think we eat just way too much. So my advice to you, and I feel best when I'm having like anything under, when I'm keto, when I'm under 50 grams of carbs. I'm a 6'2", 193-pound man. When I'm under 50 grams of carbs, I feel fantastic, especially after about a week or two. Fantastic. Occasionally, I would pulse in a meat-only fast or pulse in a fast period. Your cognitive capacity will increase. Your energy levels will increase. Your sexual drive will increase big time. Your strength, your alertness will increase. It's unbelievable. So yeah, there you go. That's what happened when I went back on carbs. I felt all the downslide. Ooh, not good. Uncle Stef is not happy with certain things. So I'm back on the coffee keto-based keto diet. And yeah, it's also good to fast too intermittently. All right, if you disagree with anything I said in this video, please let me know in the comments below. This is my small channel. My main channel is on software development and business. That's on the Stefan Mischuk channel. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Let me know.